Okay, so basics of decaling. We're some way through the Spitfire VB build. I'm going to put some roundels on the fuselage. I'm running through basically a few of the things now. Preparation, you want to clean your bench of any of the dust and crap. Otherwise it can get under your decals and they can look awful. Jury is out on the idea of whether or not you need a glossy finish before you put your decals down. Some people swear by it. It helps to negate some of the silvering. Other people say it's not necessary. You could polish the surface, etc. I'm not going to get into that debate. I like a slightly glossier finish. It seems to work for me. Now, a word from, I think most people will just go for it right at this point. Okay, they'll just follow the instructions in the kit and away they go. I have been asked about decal setting solutions, etc. Again, whether or not these necessarily work better or not, I think depends upon the individual modeler. There are two of the bigger companies out there. So you've got Microset and Sol, okay, and you've got Mr. Hobby, just there. Others do exist, Ammo, etc. Most of those, however, are rebottled versions of those two. Okay, I do believe Humber will do their own as well, but we don't talk about them. Basically what there'll be is there will be a solution to put down first, okay, to prepare the area again for the decal going on, and then there will be a softener for afterwards to help it adhere to the surface and to take up any of the shapes, etc. So if we look, say, for example, at this one I've already done here, I don't know if you can see or not, but all the various little hatches and stuff and panel lines and stuff, this you can all see through the roundel, and again on these side ones, again you can see everything through. There's no silvering on there, etc. Okay, so what have we got? What do we need? A couple of decent brushes, nice and clean. Okay, we'll need those shortly. Some good tweezers. A couple of cotton buds. Again, just help a little laser on. Now, again, water in a dish. You don't want to be spilling it anywhere. Again, some people swear by it being warm. Certainly you really want room temperature or above. It's certainly not boiling, certainly not cold. Okay, so again, I've just let that sit. It's about the same temperature as me, basically. So here are our decals out the kit. So these are just the standard Airfix ones. We're going to cut these out. Okay, and we're going to put both these on for our markings just here. Okay, so again, always a nice flat surface. Okay, get a decent knife. Okay, that way it's easier to get around the decal and less chance of you slipping, etc., or going through something else. You could use scissors to cut these out. Of course you can. If they're good scissors. I just tend to find that scissors tend to sort of chop through. There's far more chance of like cutting into something else without realising it. Especially when you do something like this, just cutting in between. You haven't got much space to play with. Sorry, I'm off camera. There we go. Something like this. I don't want to get into that T there. I want to be able to keep that for later if I ever want it, etc. So we only want those two for now. I'll probably show you one, so don't bore you. Occasionally, depending on the manufacturer, these numbers, etc., might also be decals. Now we know what numbers these are, so we don't need any more. So let's get rid of them first. Because otherwise that will come off in the water and get in your lovely finish. So we're leaving as much space around the decals as possible to get hold of them. Okay, put one to one side. And with a decent sized brush in hand, okay, straight in the water, and make sure it's all nicely flattened and under the water now. Again, every manufacturer is different. They usually say about 10-20 seconds, etc. But, you know, it's never exactly as they say. Now, obviously, this is now fully submerged. But, however, if I tried, say, to move that around on the backing paper, nothing's going to happen. That's still definitely stuck on there. So, dunk it under a bit longer. What I really need now is something to wedge this up so you can see properly. That's not too bad. Okay, so it's been a good another sort of 10-15 seconds. Let's take another look. If we try again moving it around on, no, it's not moving off that backing paper yet. With cheaper manufacturers, by the way, you need to be slightly careful in that the Decal film actually holds the design, isn't actually much bigger than the actual design itself. Again, if that's the case, we do recommend just cutting it a lot closer to the Decal, but thankfully this is a sort of practice we don't see so much anymore. How's this going to be on? Okay, right. Thought I should check that. I have had it before now where I've actually left something in there way too long. It's just floated off the Decal paper. Again, don't panic. Hold the Decal paper with your tweezers, and again, just carefully wedge it back on for manoeuvring. Okay, so it's starting to lift. Still hasn't done it yet though. So now we can actually just see, I don't know if you can from the camera, that this edge here, I just set the paintbrush under it, is actually just lifting. We've got stuff in my water already, which is not good. Can you have it now? Okay, so that should move. So we know now from the directions this needs to go this way up, point up. Okay, so what we're doing basically is we're slowly sliding it off the backing paper with the brush. Okay, I hope that can be seen on camera. Actually still, I think, needs a tiny little bit more time in that water, but it really is a tiny little amount of time. And I definitely need to wedge that up further so you can see. I need it right there, don't I? I will not swear. I will not swear. That's actually moved on the backing paper, which is pretty good. Now, with your finger, you see what I just did there? I just moved it around a tiny little bit. Shows that it's actually shifting on the backing paper. This is a good sign. Again, you don't want it running off it cleanly, but yeah, we can see that now. That's better. So now you can literally press against it and slide it off. Okay, that is pretty much exactly where I actually want it, which is slightly annoying because I want to just show you. At this point, it's still quite wet and it's still quite moving. So when I actually touch it with my thumb, I can actually be a bit more precise. Again, you can do this with the brush. Just sort of shove it round a little bit until it's just nice and straight. I'll give it a little bit of wedge at that corner. There we go. Just to straighten that line up there. Just having a quick look at my references. Apparently it needs to be a lot higher. So the whole thing needs to be more like there. Now very, very gently letting go. Okay. Right. Now just brush very carefully across the edges. Okay, trying to get some of the excess out. Make sure the edges are all nice and stuck down. And then if you do need to, then take a little cotton bud. Again, if there's any real excess water around. Just being careful to be really gentle so you don't actually move the decal. If there's any ripples in it, you can normally move them out at this exact point. And that's looking pretty damn awesome. Now you'll notice, obviously, until this dries, it's not going to look anything at all like this. Not even close. Okay, so you need to be careful that you don't accidentally touch it. Again, from the top, that's nice and straight. Okay, let's do these all. And then we'll come back to the first one now. Obviously, as you're handling the model, because I've done this myself before, be very careful you don't accidentally knock what you've already done. Okay, quite a lot of people will decal in several different stages. Should have put this in the water already, but never mind. I'll have to wait for it. Now, this is basically where these sort of things come in. Okay. So, once it's down and once it's dried, preferably like overnight dried, okay, it won't move then, or it certainly shouldn't, if it's even a remotely quality decal. Okay, that's when basically the softeners come in. Okay, so the likes of Microsol, and I always get this wrong, but bizarrely Mark Setter. Okay, what they do basically is they very, very, very gently melt the decal. Okay, so what you need to do basically is, if that's what you're going to do, take again a clean brush. Okay, a little bit of this all over the top of the decal. So I will actually do this on purpose. Right, like I said, there we go. Whilst waiting for that, I'll do the other roundel again. So yeah, a little bit of this. Okay, and you want to go literally all over it. Okay, just the once or twice, and then leave it. Don't touch at this point until it is dry, because it is effectively melting. You will melt a fingerprint into that easy. Okay, so let's just put that back where it was. Quickly wash that out. Put the top back on that. And we'll come back to that in a bit. Now, back with the other brush. Let's see how this is doing. I had to position a light quite close, so if the camera moves, I do apologise. But again, just with the finger, is that moving off the back at all yet? Not really. Sticking there quite solidly. Just very quickly looking at who actually printed these decals, if it was Airfix or... Apparently these are Cartograph, so these should be really, really good quality. Cartograph being one of the biggest names in the business, really. Not that camera? No, just not the light. There, that just gave way. Okay, being gentle. Maneuver that around a little bit. Now again, looking at my references, what I've got over here somewhere out of camera. Okay, that's got to go there-ish. And it's going to be in between those two nicely like that. So again, you paint the neck. That was close. I would usually, by the way, wedge these up a little bit better, but again, I'm trying to get it obviously so you can see. Okay, so you see that's actually raised off a little bit. So it's there, but it's not really stuck down yet. It's all sort of raised up at the edge. That's fine, it's no problem at all. It just means it isn't stuck yet. So again, we can see from the top, just need to push the whole thing back a little bit anyway. About there. Okay, excellent. Again, being careful not to touch the other one or over there where it's melting. And again, we can just smooth it out. Okay, that's actually pretty darn straight actually. I'm pretty impressed with that. I think that corner just needs to go up ever so slightly. There. Okay, so that's now a straight line across. Wording in that sort of, I'm looking at that bar basically at the very top of the start. It's nice and straight. Again, when we look at it from the top, they're perpendicular to each other. So they should be, obviously you get more coding up here and down there, but the roundel should always be the same, or usually the same. There we go, that's looking pretty damn good. And that's slowly drying. Now, let's take a look at that first one. That's now starting to dry though. You can already starting to see just there the panel line starting to appear through the decal, but you certainly can't see this hatch here. Looking back at these now, a lot's going on, however. So obviously these are slowly melting in. You can see the little hatch there, sorry. Through the decal, it's still melting its way down onto that. So that's going to look pretty damn awesome. And that is the basics of decaling. Thank you.